big event that we were all waiting for, highly anticipated, India's inclusion into the JPMorgan Emerging Market Index. So you timed it appropriately, didn't you?
Yeah, it's perfect. I think it's a great sign they're in the index, and yes.
Let's talk about India since you are here. What's been the impression since this is your first visit post the pandemic? We've just finished hosting the G20. There's a lot of focus and attention on India and its potential as well as the economy. What's your first impression of being back here?
First of all, I love coming here. I've been coming here since 2005. We've gone from 6,000 employees to 60,000 employees. They travel the world, and it's not call centers anymore. It's everything, technology, analytics, cyber. It's extraordinary. Tomorrow I go to a new Mumbai center with 10,000 people. And then look at this conference. I remember 8 years ago or 9 years ago when it started, it was like 50 or 75 clients. Now it's 700 investors from around the world, 70 companies or 100 companies presenting. I think the optimism about India is actually completely justified.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you believe is driving that optimism today? What would be the 2 or 3 things that you believe are driving the confidence and the optimism in the India story today?
Well, first of all, I think Modi's been doing a very good job, and things like Aadhaar, to get a bank accounts for 700,000 people, simplifying taxes, trying to open up more for foreign direct investment, the National Infrastructure Program. But just think of your universities here. So we're not the only bank here. There are lots of the banks with a lot of people, but so is Accenture, McKinsey, and obviously you have your local, Tata, et cetera. So those things are driving optimism. It's not just because of the complications with China. I think that's an opportunity. I think that some of this optimism would have been there anyway.
You talked about Aadhaar and you talked about some of the things that we've done on the digital side. What's your takeaway as far as what we've done on the fintech and the digital payment thing and UPI? I mean, what's your team telling you about the strength of digital public infrastructure and how India's been able to build on that?
Yeah, well, it's excellent. I remember coming years ago and telling our people, you better study what they're doing in India because they're ahead of us in a bunch of things. But I can't answer the question because I'm about to meet with some of them, I think right after this. So it's one of the great reasons you travel. You learn a lot. But they've built some great companies here.
So given the opportunity that you see in India, what is that going to potentially mean now for your plans for India? You talked about how JPMorgan's grown here in India, both in terms of the size of the business as well as the headcount. What could we expect from here on?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of the same. And go to the corporate side, investment banking side of our business. We used to cover 10 to 20 companies here, and we did research on them. Now we cover 150 plus. We used to bank 20 or 30 multinationals coming to India. Now we bank, I'm going to say 500 multinationals. We help multinationals. And also we bank all your Indian companies in London, Singapore, America, as we help them finance or buy and do M&A. So my guess is next 20 years, that'll just double again.
Just a quick follow-up on the inclusion into the bond index, and there's all kinds of estimates on what that could mean in terms of inflows into India. Anywhere between $25 to $40 billion is the estimate over the next year and a half as the inclusion works its way out. Typically, what's been the previous experience of a country being included in the bond index? What are the implications in the medium to long term?
Yeah, so our folks think it'll be about $25 billion. It has to be bought, so it gets bought over time. But I think it's a wonderful thing when you index like that, what it means about your capital markets, your rule of law, your transparency, your government financing. The indirect effect is more important. What you want is capital, foreign direct investment, both in plant and equities and things, innovative companies and stuff like that. So it's just one more very positive sign.